A federal jury clears Oconto County and two sheriff's deputies of any wrongdoing in a traffic stop that involved the transportation of hemp. Kevin Kochovic and Tammy Lively, who were married at the time, sued for violation of Fourth Amendment rights for unreasonable search and seizure. The lawsuit claimed Lively was a licensed grower in Waushara County who was transporting harvested hemp to Michigan in 2022. Lively says the hemp was properly packaged and had the required paperwork. The lawsuit claims during a traffic stop, the hemp was misidentified as marijuana and seized for field testing, which showed low concentrations of THC. Hemp with less than 0.3% THC by dry weight is allowed under law. Kovacic was arrested and all of the hemp product was seized. The lawsuit contends further testing shows the product was legal hemp, which had lost its value over the course of the investigation. But again, a jury determining no rights were violated by law enforcement.